What's up, Mortgage Coach community? I am super pumped. I'm interviewing my brother for, Roberto's at like 10 years that you've been
10 years right now.
Speaking.
10 years.
Right on. So Roberto Monaco, everyone. I'll never forget the first time you filmed me speak. And I had been speaking, I don't know, for maybe 10 years.
Yep.
And I think you gave me like 8 pages of like, and I'll never forget, like it was a page and a half of what you did good.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, I'm reading it. I'm like, yeah. And it was like, what could be improved? Like,
oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah. So I still have that document. No, I'm not going to share it in the public community. So anybody that wants to see that, no, it's private. It was Roberto coaching me up 8 years ago or 10 years ago. So Roberto, I wanted to do this interview with you because you recently posted in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group, and you talked about, hey, who's out there speaking to large groups? Mm-hmm. We have been doing a lot of advocating to have loan officers teach strategies to realtors on how to sell homes. Because, like, let's face it, realtors are getting disrupted, and they're concerned. Loan officers are kind of getting disrupted. So advice matters, and speaking to groups matters. Like, I want to see more loan officers in our community talking to one-to-many agents and at one-to-many events. So just knowing that's a goal of ours, and knowing that, hey man, you're the founder of Influenceology. You've been my speaking coach for a decade. What advice do you have to the mortgage loan officer?
Well, the first thing first of all, thank you so much for the invitation here. I'm super honored. Remember, and you're talking about when we connected, and right after, remember, I started giving feedback. You're the first one who started the video marketing, remember, for the mortgage industry.
I was kind of early when it came to video.
You were like, and you say, hey, can you review videos? And I'm like, I don't know. I never reviewed one before. I really never done it. That was like 10 years ago. And then I started reviewing videos because of you. So I'm very grateful for our relationship too.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, very grateful. So for me, for those who don't know me, my name is Roberto Monaco, and I've been professionally speaking since 2002. And you'll be thinking, how come a professional speaker with an accent? Right? Well, I'm faking my accent. Usually I speak without accent, I'm just doing this for a fact. But anyway, I worked for Tony Robbins for 6 years. And in 2008, 2009, I left Tony Robbins and opened up my company. And now, fast forward, I've done 4,500 talks in my career. And I have 12,000 hours of one-on-one coaching, which means to you guys, is that if there's one lesson that I recommend, is that everybody has the opportunity to go out and become an influencer, a teacher, an educator in the mortgage space. Anybody. The cool thing about speaking and speak well and moving an audience into action is that you don't need to take a 4-year degree. You don't need a PhD. You don't need a master program. It's wide open for you right now. It's a decision you got to make. And after you make a decision, there are things obviously that you got to do to have a good story, a good message, craft a great talk and offer. We can talk more about today, Dave, in this call. But the most important thing that I wanted to leave with this call with is that, do I have the desire, just desire, to go out there and elevate my brand, your personal brand, elevate my credibility, change the frame. This is important because we as a society, we are conditioned to look at teachers, speakers, influencers, right? And when you go and you teach in the office, you change the frame. Now you're the expert. You are leading the class. So if you have the desire, then speaking to groups might be something that you may consider into your marketing mix. And I always tell this to my clients, Dave. Nowadays, obviously, social media is big. I'm a big proponent of social media, video marketing, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I do it all. But if you were to stop, okay, and you look, the most successful people who teach social media, right? Just look around. Go poke their profiles. You know what you're going to find? You're going to find a picture of that person doing a talk in front of an audience, right? And isn't that interesting? The guy who teaches social media and his profile picture is what? Him or her doing a talk in front of a large crowd. And the question is why? Why do they do that? Well, because it's built-in credibility, it's impact, it's influence, and I would love at least to inspire you to see yourself differently today. Because here's what's important. When you change how you see yourself, your audience changes how they see you. So your real estate community, right? Your realtors, your financial planners, the CPAs, the title people, they start seeing you differently when you step up and you start doing talks.
That was powerful. By the way, I changed the frame so I had an all white background.
Yeah.
Just to hook up with you.
Yeah.
But I love that, Roberto. I also want everybody to notice the way I teed up Roberto and the way that he told a story. He told his story.
Yeah.
I still remember that. Like, I learned, anybody that's heard me teach, I learned it from Roberto. Your opening, your pre-frame,
yeah,
your story, your close. I'm sure you're going to give us a close.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, guys. You're a referral-based local mortgage professional. You know, that term everybody has, I want to be the digital mayor of my market. And you're so right. To do that, yeah, you need to kill it online.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to say there's massive opportunity online. But
yeah,
to your point, you need to kill it on stage
yeah,
in your local market. And so if I know I'm going to have you more often, you and I talked about that.
Yeah.
You're willing to come in and lead more in our community.
Yeah.
But what are a couple ideas and strategies that a mortgage coach loan officer that, let's say they got a meeting with a realtor next week? No,
okay,
not a realtor. They've got a lunch and learn. You know, they've got
Perfect.
anywhere from 6 to 60 realtors
okay,
in a room.
Yeah.
Obviously, you gave them one idea, like change how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Just give us a few more ideas to
prep. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the 3 biggest questions that I get from professionals, and then I'm going to answer your question by focus, kind of like it's going to be a long answer here. So the first question that people ask me is, how do I speak with confidence in front of a group? Because sometimes, Dave, I may have an opportunity, and a lot of loan officers out there, not all of them, they say, I got to do it, or I know it's an opportunity, but I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel confident, or even worse, some people have, which I see in this pattern a lot, they have no fear of speaking, okay? They'll be like, oh, I love teaching, I have no problem. But then when it comes to the call to action, for example, as a loan officer, what's the call to action? Hey, you know what? Let's set up a meeting. Here's what I'm going to do in my one-on-one with you. They just rush through it. They spend all the time preparing the slides, preparing the presentation, go over the content, and the most important part, which is, hey, here's how you're going to sit down. I'm going to become your partner to help you sell more houses. We rush through it, or we feel uncomfortable, right? Which makes no sense, because look, you write this down. If you listen to us, your message starts when your presentation ends, right? Your message as a professional mortgage broker starts when your presentation ends. What do you mean by that, Roberto? Well, your message, you do loans, starts when they sit down with you, you become partners, and they start like refer you business. And that is so you gotta be one strategy, one way to look. When you do a call to action, a talk, there's always a call to action. Always a call to action. It has to be, must be your most exciting part of the talk. Otherwise, you're lying to yourself, right? I don't care if you're speaking for 10 minutes, lunch and learn, 20 minutes, right? 30 minutes. But the most exciting part for you is like, look, your mindset is going to be like this. Look, this information is great. This is awesome. But now is the part that I have a chance to really sit down and really help you implement this stuff and become partners long term. And you generally, right, you have to feel the way. You really have to feel the way. So the mindset is really important. When it comes to, I saw in a post, some people, one lady said, yeah, I love speaking, I do, but I got to do a lot of follow-up. What that tells me, that I'm talking to her, is that the talk doesn't have enough urgency, and she didn't have a good call to action. Because if you have urgency and you do a great talk with a good opening, a good pre-frame, a body, a pre-close and close, I'll be talking more about that later, then is easy. Then the call to action, hey, please help me implement this. Yes, I want to meet with you. Is like this is a natural step. And a lot of times, Dave, and I've seen it, loan officers go out there speak, and they spend all the time in the slides and make it pretty, but when it comes to the call to action, they really rush through it or don't do it because they're afraid. So the mindset's one piece. You want to add anything to it, or?
Well, I do want to emphasize the call to action. And for everybody that's been part of this conversation I've been having with Scott Nicholson, where we're saying, hey, go out and teach ideas to help realtors sell homes faster and use the seller buy down. I always talk about start with no slides, connect, tell your story. Then think of the seller buy down. It's a strategy and a story. And we always say, use the TCA, like have the live interactive total cost analysis. So that now in your call to action is like, hey, if you'd like me to personalize this, localize this for one of your families. So like you've made that call to action. You want them to refer people to say, I've got a first time buyer that wants to rent versus own. You have used that as part of your presentation. So when your call to action comes, you've got like, yes, I want one of those. So I just want to insert guys.
And you can do, and I'm going to get into in the second question here, which is you got to be excited about it. So the first, obviously, there's all kinds of things that I cover about, how to help someone transform the fear, uncertainty, down anxiety into certainty, into confidence. Now, the second question is this. How do I convert more in a talk? Meaning, when I speak to a group of realtors, 5, 10, how do I get them to say, hey, I want to meet with you? Now, what I'm going to share with you now, I usually spend 10 hours in my class. So I'm going to spend like maybe 3 minutes here, right? Or maybe 5. And you kind of mentioned a presentation, always there's 5 major areas, okay? Is the opening, the pre-frame. I want to explain opening, pre-frame, body, pre-close, and close. So there's major 5 areas in a talk. Even in a 1-minute talk, if I do a 1-minute talk or 2 minutes talk, I still gonna have an opening, pre-frame, body, pre-close, and close. And the opening is nowadays, if you don't have attention, if you don't break people's thinking pattern, it's really hard to influence them. You gotta grab people's attention elegantly. So there's different ways to open up. So like, for example, you can open up a talk with a story. You can say something like, Albert Einstein, many years ago, was teaching a class. And he passed actually a test to his students. And one of his students grabbed the test. He goes, Mr. Einstein, I noticed that the questions that you're asking us right now for the test are the same questions that you asked a year ago. And he goes, yep, the questions are the same, but the answers are different. You see, when it comes to real estate and mortgage lending and financing, some people of your clients may have the same questions. What's the best deal? How do I get the best financing? But guess what? The answers have changed, and that's why I'm going to cover today in the next 15 minutes. Stuff like that, when you break people's pattern and you cause to the Albert Einstein, why? And they'd be like, huh? Right? So it's kind of like, opening, you can open up with a question, with a story, with a physical exercise. So you want to engage people right away.
Love that, guys. So hopefully you're getting value from this. I'm going to have Roberto back in the community multiple times. So if you have questions for Roberto, check it out down below. You absolutely have to follow Roberto on all channels. I mean, he's on Facebook. He's on LinkedIn. He's on Instagram. Influenceology is the website. So Roberto, one last idea, and then tell people how they can connect and get more value from it.
So one idea. Well, by the way, I just want to wrap up here the second question. So we have opening, pre-frame, body, pre-close, and close, right? So maybe in a future calls here, Dave, we can I can give you more details about the presentation. But one idea that has helped me tremendously is to create a storytelling database. I cannot tell you how much it has helped my business and my clients' business. Let me give an example. As if I'm a loan officer, and let's say every day myself and my team, we are talking to A, consumers, B, let's say realtors. Is that correct?
Boom. Absolutely.
Right? So at least, I'm not talking about CPAs or builders or whatever, right? So let's talk about the consumers. So consumers, when they show up, they may have, between 3 to 8 problems. Everybody has, any industry, we solve 3 to 8 problems, right? The same thing from the real estate agent side, right? Anywhere from 3 to 8 problems. So what happens is that eventually I want you to build up one story per problem. So if people if a real estate agent have a problem before, loans not closing on time, guess what? As a professional communicator and influencer, I'm gonna put that story about a realtor that was working with someone else at one point in time, wasn't closed on time, and now through my process we close on time, and here's the example. So I'm going to match that story to that specific problem, right? If someone has another problem, I'm gonna pull another, right? Investment property, I'm gonna have my investment property story. So because a lot of times we go to these presentations relying on how good we are. I mean, I'm good. I've been doing loans for 10 years, 20 years, and I know you're good, right? But you don't want to be good. You want to be awesome. And being awesome means that, look, I know I'm going to talk to a real estate agent. He's going to throw me anywhere between 3 to 8 problems or questions, major questions, and I'm going to have an answer. Not only going to have an answer, I'm going to be able to illustrate the answer with the story. You know why? Because storytelling is so powerful, Dave, because people can counter-argue facts. People cannot counter-argue personal experiences. So that's why when you not only you tell the answer and you say, hey, let me give an example. That's a transition. Hey, let me give an example. And you put that story that relates to that problem or that question, that challenge, man, you're going to move people into action. Way easy, for sure.
I love this, guys. So much value in like a 20-minute call. Can't wait to have Roberto on a bigger call. Please let us know what questions you have for Roberto. Also, if you are a leader or a manager and you're looking for a speaker at one of your upcoming events, Roberto Monaco is the man. If you are an influencer and you are looking for a speaker coach, I don't know if you're currently doing any coaching, whether it's group coaching or one-on-one coaching, but Roberto, how can people reach out to you?
Best way, couple websites. One is called influenceology.com. You can learn more about my work. My email is roberto@influenceology, and I have a 3-day event called Influencing from the Front, and I have people from 36 industries show up. It's just kind of like to become a better communicator. Super fun.
Yeah, and that is an event that I have, one, been to. 2, I have put a number of my employees through that 3-day program. And I am still, like, my all-time favorite personal improvement experience was that event you and I did. I don't know how many years ago it was. Man. If anybody who's ever seen this photo of Jeremy Forcier,
Scott Nicholson, Scott was there.
Scott was there. It was like, just all kinds of speakers and legends, and we were all just smiling. I think we had arrows in our hands.
Yeah.
We've got to do that event again.
For sure.
So, bro, I appreciate it. If you got value from this, like it, share it, watch this with your team. And Roberto, you the man, bro.
The man. And one last thought. If you don't share your story, the marketplace will create one about you. So communicate today. Thank you.
Love that.